This is your WW3 news. It's a bit a while I didn't deal with geopolitical situations. What the fucking hell's going on in our world? Well, obviously not to spook the plebs. The tabloids, they're keeping stumpf on many things. Because behind the scenes, things are getting more worse. Tensions are more rising between East and West and blah, blah, blah. Now, the Russian doomsday radio, I think the other night, that done an extraordinary broadcast of, coding messages. This is for their military assets around the world, transmitting things in codes and stuff like that. And it's a signal the Russians are preparing for something. And I think every other superpower is preparing for something anyway. Middle East, military hardware, American military hardware is building up. They're going to send another aircraft carrier. Whether they announce it, it's already gone. It has to go. God knows what. They're not going to tell you. And obviously, the Russians and Chinese have their own internet systems. Most of the Western social medias are being banned in Russia, and even Telegram as well in Russia. It's made by a Russian geezer. That's strange, but in times of war, having an open internet makes you vulnerable, and you just vulnerable for attacks, basically, and misinformation, the war propaganda. It's always been a thing like that in any conflict, and any type of means of communication or propaganda, pushing narratives in those periods there. The price of copper's going up. Gold, they say it's holding around about $5,100 an ounce, despite that hike of about a week or so ago, which has touched 5,400, I believe. And all these treaties of the non-nuclear proliferation are finished. And the rest are accusing the Chinese of doing underground tests in the past. The fact is, you can't prove it because they never ever were parts of these treaties. I think the Chinese were a little bit more wiser than the Russians because they knew the West will never respect their part. This is typical of the West. All the Minsk 1, Minsk 2 treaties over Ukraine, which Russia, Americans and European Union signed, and NATO. Europeans and Americans are never respected regarding the autonomy of those four Russian-speaking republics, and non-aggression with NATO, European Union. And obviously these crazy people in Brussels, they want to drag Ukraine in NATO, which under their rules, Ukraine's not qualified, so it's a country in war, and obviously it's a Trojan horse, proxy Trojan horse, to wage war with the Russians, and obviously tensions are growing there, and a possible attack on Russia itself, a decapitation, regime change, and all that shit. These people in the West, politicians and top military boss, they are sociopathics, they are lunatics, they are mad people. Sooner or later, they're going to drag us into something if we survive, we're going to bloody fucking regret, that's for sure. Well, the economy is not doing too good. There's been a lot of cry wolf on Fox News and Fox American media about banks and stuff like collapse and stuff like that. Are they spooking people? or is this a plan for something else a lot more worse for America and for the world? Because don't forget the Western deficit in each nation is pretty high. They won't tell you it's probably why they increase taxes. The fact is, all these politicians are thieving cunts anyway. Not to be trusted. Can you find an honest politician these days? I think it's a very rare commodity, which has been becoming like gold. Very precious, becoming pretty rare.